All right, we move on to a developing NBA feud between the last two regular season MVPs and Giannis Antetokounmpo and James Harden. It began on All-Star Draft Night when Giannis chose Kemba Walker over Harden because of Harden's reputation as a ball-dominant player, despite his impressive assist total. Harden then fired back in an interview with ESPN's Rachel Nichols, saying, "I wish I could be 7 feet, run, and dunk. That takes no skill at all. I gotta actually learn how to play basketball and how to have skill. I'll take that any day." Not every day you get this type of drama between two of the best players in the league, but it sure makes for an interesting discussion. So tell me, Drink, whose side are you on in this?
First of all, I want to say I agree with Harden. I wish I was 7 feet and could run and jump too. Like, so I don't blame him for saying that. That sounds like a very good genetic problem to have right there. Um, no, I'm gonna say this. I don't think when Giannis said what he said, I don't think he meant it in a malicious way, but I do think he was being truthful. He wanted a dude that was going to pass the ball, not sit there and dribble the whole possession away. And I think the reason Giannis said that is like this. He knew what was going to be on the line in this game. He knew that this was going to be for charity, and he wanted to take it somewhat serious. Go back to that game itself. Look how hard Giannis was playing from the opening tip. Giannis was dunking on fools in the first quarter. Like, he wasn't messing around. So with all that in his head, he's saying, listen, I don't want some dude that's going to be sitting here taking up the whole possession. I want a dude that's going to pass the ball. If you give me the option, I'm going to take the passer, which was Walker, instead of the dribbler, which is Harden. He didn't say, hey, let me take Walker because Harden trash. Like, he didn't say that. He didn't say, let me take Walker because I think he's more athletic than Harden. He didn't say none of that. He just said, I would take the passer over. Well, he didn't even say the dribbler. He just said, I want a guy that pass the ball. Charles Barkley, on the other hand, you knew he was going to have a field day with it. You might as well seen the hands up in the background because you knew when he heard it, what he was going to do. He was going to run with that baton, give it to me 4x100. Same boat, last leg. So he took it and he just, and he made a big deal about it. With all that said, I'm going to take Giannis' position, if you haven't noticed, because I don't think Giannis meant nothing about it. Now, of course, Harden took offense to it. Like, what dude wouldn't take offense to it when you think you're one of the top players in the NBA and then somebody say something like that? Everybody would too. I think if LeBron was a player that wasn't picking players and was a player to get picked, and somebody said, I want a player that know how to play within the offense, not make up a whole nother offense just because. LeBron would have took offense to that. Like, whatever, man. I am who I am. So, of course, we look at these players and we know they got egos. They make a lot of money. They're brands. They're always on TV. They got big likeness. They got big following. So when they hear something like that, I think they jump the gun to it saying, oh, this dude got beef with me. Oh, this dude don't like me. Oh, he going to take this shot. Or maybe the entourage around that individual say, hey, man, you heard what Giannis said about you on national TV? That's that bull crap, man. He trying to say you don't do this, you don't do that. That's bull job, man. Yeah, you the best free throw shooter in the NBA or whatever it is that they say to pump them up. Man, can't nobody drop fouls like you. And you got that 4-step Euro step. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Giannis said what he said. I don't think he was wrong for what he said. And Harden got to get over it. It is what it is. Say what you want. But, hey, that 7-foot guy that could jump and run, stand in front of him if you want to when he on a fast break. And he going to send you to Sports Center heaven.
There's some guys in this league, Kyrie Irving being the chief culprit of this, that you just look at them. And remember, we see some of these stories like, man, why are NBA players unhappy? It's just Kyrie Irving being one of the first ones that comes to mind. All the money, you playing basketball, all the fame, shoe deals. I don't know. I guess you need more sleep. Tobias Harris, holla at me. But look, I'm with Giannis in this. This is easy. I remember watching the All-Star draft, and I remember exactly when he said what he said, because Charles Barkley asked him, you don't want to take the dribbler, referring to James Harden? And Giannis said, No. I just want someone that's gonna pass the ball. I thought it was funny. I laughed. It was just one of the. I didn't think Giannis meant any harm by it. You know, you got to remember this. This thing was broadcast on TNT with Ernie, Kenny the Jet Smith, Shaq, and Charles Barkley. This crew, like, you talk about cutting up. Like, these dudes cut up more than any other television show, sports related, I ever seen in my life. And that's why people love them. Like, they're entertaining, they funny,
Very
and
entertaining.
they also know what they're talking about, but they do it in a way that it is so engaging. They up there and they show
That's why they got
tweets.
Emmys.
Yeah, they show tweets throughout the game, but like people like ragging on them, like, and it's all in good fun. And to me, like Giannis and LeBron, this is the second straight year they've done this. Like, they've been captains the last 2 years. And they just, to me, especially in this case, Giannis just fit right in. He's having a little fun with it. No harm, no foul in my book. But of course, you're gonna have, whoever gets like slighted in this case, being James Harden, now he gotta take offense to it. So now it's a big deal. And then I'd like to add, later on after the All-Star game, it was reported that it was the strategy of Giannis's team, in a losing effort, I might add, to whoever James Harden was guarding, give the ball to that guy, because James Harden has a reputation of not playing defense, or not playing defense all that well. Which
Yeah,
I think he's improved. I don't think, to his credit, I don't think it's the case where he's like, we've seen him in years past where he would just like stand there and let people go by him. I
like a mall cop.
Yeah, I haven't seen that anyway. Yeah, get him a segue. But hey, I haven't seen that. But still, he's not what you'd call. You don't refer to James Harden in any capacity as a defender. Like, I mean, it's the same way with Steph Curry. Like, effort or not, you're not a great defender. So, but when you come out and, you put out in this interview, you say, I wish I was, 7 feet, run and dunk, like, and you bring up the word that don't take skill at all. Well, we've just entered what I like to call blasphemous territory. I mean, can we please get real? Have we seen Giannis play? I don't think he won MVP last year just by dunking the basketball on people. Not to say he did a lot of that. But we got to remember, Giannis this season, he's an improved passer. His perimeter game has improved. He's doing things out here. He's making some turnaround jump shots. He's doing it from mid range. He's got 3-point range. He can do these things. And then the other side of the floor, because we can't get so hung up on offensive numbers to where we neglect the other side of the floor. Because on the other side, on the defensive end, Giannis and James Harden, there is no debate. I mean, you got to believe that was a big reason. There was a couple reasons why Giannis won the MVP last year. Number one, he was on the best team. That has a huge factor in these things. And then number two, I mean, voters got to be paying attention to. So, I mean, if you got two guys who, I mean, yeah, you probably give James Harden an edge offensively. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's a great offensive player. He uses the referees to his advantage. He draws a lot of fouls. He makes a lot of free throws. Some of the step back things he can do from 3-point land, and I mean, even if you play him perfectly, if he's in the zone, I mean, you ain't got no chance. But defensively, I mean, Giannis is lapping the field with it. The impact he makes on the defensive end is why he won the MVP award last year. That and being on the best team. He's on the best team again this year. Giannis has improved even more, and that's why he's going to win the MVP award. Again, I don't care how many points James Harden averages. That's just the way it is. But I look at James Harden, and I mean, I think what he said is petty. I think he's thin-skinned, and I think a whole lot better use of James Harden's time would just. I don't need to hear from you. I don't need to hear from you. Just play ball, and when you get to the playoffs, win. Like, win something, and you can come right back and say to me, Giannis hadn't won anything either. But let's remember this. Last season was really the first time that we looked at Giannis and recognized him as an elite NBA player. I mean, last year was the first time. And he got it. You could say he got exposed a little bit against the Toronto Raptors. They took him out. That's what happened. James Harden been getting bounced out the playoffs for years now. He was an MVP 2 years ago. He's been in the MVP conversation for years now. And I mean, some would go would go as far as to say he has choked in the playoffs. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say he's choked. I will see he has underperformed. His postseason performances are not on par with what he's done in the regular season. But part of that is when I look at James Harden's game, how much he needs the officials. I mean, we all know what it is. When you get to the playoffs, the refs back off. They let guys play more. They don't call as many fouls. And that is to the detriment of James Harden. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is easy. I'm with Giannis. He ain't mean no harm. And even if he did, James Harden, go win something.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cody, before you get in here, I was going to ask Jay this, but I couldn't get him to stop talking long enough. Look, we was talking about he brought up the MVP quite a few times. If you don't mind, before you get into your thing, who did Giannis win the MVP over last year?
James Harden was second, was he not?
Oh, okay. I just wanted to throw that out there for the listeners. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going to go with this a little bit. You know, this whole thing is silly, first of all. Let's be real. These dudes have got to get some thicker skin. I guess they got a lot of time between practice and games to just read Twitter and whatever else and get all up in their feels about stuff. Come on, man. Like y'all said, man, that whole All-Star draft was tongue-in-cheek, little shoulder, shoves to each other, like, little roasts here and there. I don't think Giannis had any intention to be like, oh yeah, James Harden, that bum. Yeah. So like, why are you getting all defensive about it? And I think, like you said, Dre, I think some of this goes back to the narratives around them. I think one of the things you look at, of course, is the MVP races, where sometimes it's about who can just have the most points, the most triple doubles, and sometimes it's, well, this player had the better team, even though he didn't have the better stats. So we give him the nod, and that these guys have gone back and forth for years now as potential MVPs every season. Even back a year or two before that. So, but yeah, of late, it's really been some of these guys being 1, 2, or 3 on the ballot of the last few years. So Harden probably feels a little cheated by that. And there's probably also a case to be made that Harden probably feels like he gets way more criticism in the playoffs than Giannis does. Because like you said, Giannis got pretty much shut down last year and Milwaukee got bounced. But
That's
at the same time,
one time though.
Right, exactly. And with the age and experience gap, Hard, you've been around a few more seasons than Giannis by now, so maybe those narratives have changed. But to say like, oh, he's 7 foot and just dunks the ball, and there ain't no skill in that. Yeah, there kind of is, because there's plenty of 7 foot guys that don't do what Giannis does. Like in James Harden's world, everyone that was 7 foot would be an all-star and just be dunking everywhere, and James Harden be trying to dribble between them like he's Space Jam with the Monstars. Like that's not the case, obviously. So why are you acting like he has no skill? I just don't. That's an awfully excessive retort, I guess, and an awfully odd way to go about it. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, just let's grow up a little bit. I guess the Rockets thing is just going to be getting upset about stuff and doing him and Westbrook, man. Like what? Every day it's something new with these guys.
And that's what I meant. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving, but you talk about other malcontents in this league. Like Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they just seem like a match that's just perfect for each other. Like, I mean, I'm not saying James Harden. I don't think he's as bad as those other two guys. But have you ever seen those guys really like happy on the court? Like, does it ever look like they're really having fun? I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just like they got their own disposition. But I mean, Russell Westbrook, I know. Like, and that's probably just his intensity and like his, that fire that burns in his belly. But I mean, thin skin is absolutely the word. You got the word for this. Like, let it go. Just play. You don't need to respond to literally like everything that happens to you. And like, have a sense of humor. Like, it was funny. Like, I thought it was funny. Like, it's an all-star game. Like, who really cares? And one more thing. Head-to-head matchups. You can put some stock into them. You maybe you don't. These teams played opening night in the season. Giannis dropped 30, 11 for 17, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. Hit him with that hot triple-double. James Harden gave you that nice double-double, 19 points, 14 assists. Shot that nice 2 for 13 from the floor, though. I just say that to say I can't wait for the next game between these two teams on March 25th. I hope Giannis eats this small ball lineup up, and I hope he drops 40 on them. I can't wait.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's going to be amazing. I'll tell you what, we'll leave it at this, Harden. If you're really bothered by it, take the KD approach. Go on Twitter, get you a couple burners, have fun.